Hey RCC, Pastor Ben here, excited to join you on the journey, our new Mission and Vision series for 2020 here at RCC, where we are exploring our mission, our discipleship pathway, and our values as a church. As we communicated last week in group and on Sunday morning 2 weeks ago, we exist to invite people to journey with Jesus. If you have not received a magnet, I want to encourage you this Sunday to stop by the hub and grab a magnet, place it on your fridge, at work, anywhere that would remind you about our white hot passion, is that we exist to invite people, right? To invite people that there's a better way. There's a pathway that God wants them to be on, and they're invited in. And today, this week, we're going to talk about our first discipleship value, which is to journey towards. And every journey, we believe at RCC, starts with just a single step, just one next step. But oftentimes in faith and religion and work and all aspects of our lives, we want to skip the steps and we want to take the giant leaps, right? We want to have already lost the 50 pounds. We want to already be, the CEO or the VP. We want to be the smartest kid in school. We don't want to oftentimes maybe put in the hard work or take it one step at a time. I'll never forget when I met my wife, Crystal. We were both serving as camp counselors for a week of middle school camp back in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I just, when I saw her, I said I to myself, I don't want to ask her out. I'm ready for the wedding like right away. So I don't know if that was ignorance or just youthful excitement. And I knew I couldn't ask her out just yet because we had a job to do. We were serving in ministry and had to love and serve the middle school students. I actually skipped step one, which is to ask her out because I was so nervous. I did the very most middle school thing that you could do when you like somebody. I had my friend go and ask Crystal, hey, how old are you? Because I wasn't sure. I was in my mid-20s. I was hoping she was in her mid-20s or early 20s. I wasn't sure. But once he came back and confirmed, hey, dude, that was kind of weird, but she's your same age, I knew that I was ready to ask her out. And 6 months later, that simple, will you go out with me, turned into, will you marry me? And 6 months after that, will you go out with me turned into will you marry me, and turned into I do. Our relationships, our lives, our faith journey, it is all about just taking one next step. It's not about leaps. Sometimes we can get so worked up, like I'm not as far in my career as I want to be. Our marriage isn't progressing as fast as we want it to be. Our kids aren't doing as well in school as we had hoped or want them to be. But in reality, life is about one next step at a time. And so is our faith. Our journey with Jesus is simply about one next step at a time. I want to ask you a question to think about, and you're welcome to bring this up in your group if you'd like. What do you think goes through someone's mind when they decide for themselves, maybe Saturday night, Friday afternoon, or Sunday morning, I'm going to go to RCC for the very first time? Just think about that. If you've been at RCC for a long time, maybe you've forgotten what it's like to come through our doors for the very first time. It is very courageous, right? When someone takes the next step. Because in a way, they're saying, Jesus, I'm open to whatever it is you have for me. And then they come through our doors. And I really want to ask our church, when we see somebody that is new, whose job is it to initiate a conversation? It's my job, it's your job, it's our job. Why? Because we believe at the core of who we are that whoever comes to RCC, whoever walks through our doors brand new, man, it is an opportunity, maybe for the very first time, that they are saying, God, if you're out there, whatever that looks like, I'm ready to start my journey today. During your group discussion, you're going to read about a very courageous woman, one of my favorite characters in the New Testament. This woman had a pretty severe medical condition that, like a lot of people in the New Testament, when you had a severe medical condition or a disease like leprosy, you often had to live in what we would probably call cabins or college dormitories with other people that had your same issue or situation. And so she wanted to take a next step towards Jesus, but honestly, socially, medically, she wasn't allowed. But it got to a point in her life where she said, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm going to take a next step towards Jesus. And in your text that you're going to read this week, she gets caught up and entangled in a very large crowd, as you might suspect would be around Jesus. And she reaches out and touches the corner of Jesus's prayer shawl. And Jesus feels something, like his power leaves him. And he asks, who is it that touched me? And the people around her were starting to criticize her. Why are you a female talking to this male? Why are you a woman talking to this rabbi? Why are you someone that is considered unclean outside of your dormitory where everybody else is? Why are you in the presence of Jesus reaching out, wanting to take a next step? And it's Jesus that says, your faith has saved you. Your faith has healed you. Now, there's something about this woman that I find fascinating. In the Old Testament, there's a prophecy that says, when the Messiah comes, there'll be healing in his wings. Now, the Hebrew word for wing is kanaf. It's also the same Hebrew word for corner to describe a Jewish rabbi's prayer shawl. So not only did this woman believe there's something different about Jesus, and I'm willing to put my life on the line, that he can actually heal me if I reach out and touch the corner of his prayer shawl. And she did. I wonder, how many times do our guests come to the doors wondering the same thing? Is Jesus more than just a religious figure that I kind of familiarized myself with when I was a kid? Is he bigger than what pop culture says that he is? Can I actually find healing? Can I find salvation? And we are not going to be a church that looks at that woman and says, what are you doing in this place? No, we're going to be a church that says, we're so glad that you decided to be here. We understand that every journey starts with a next step. Whether that's coming to RCC for the first time, maybe for you and your group it's praying out loud for the first time, trying to read the Bible 3 to 4 days in a week for the first time, financially giving to our general fund for the first time, serving on the weekend for the first time. Those are not small things to glance over, friends. Those are small steps that indicate in your heart and to us, I'm ready to take a next step towards Jesus. Love you guys. Pray that you have a great conversation. I'm going to turn it over to your leaders right now.